Hi, I'm Justin Krueger. I'm going to go ahead and do my video book review for Appetite for America by Stephen Fried, uh, talking about the life of Fred Harvey and his experiences, as well as that of his children. Not a big fan of recording myself, so I guess hopefully it's not too brutal for you. But you know, I do enjoy trying to go out of my comfort zone, so we'll give it a shot here. Basically, I summarized, what I felt was kind of the main message from, the one of the quotes out of the book, and that was, he created the first national chain of restaurants, of hotels, of newsstands, and of bookstores. In fact, the first national chain of anything in America. And I think that's pretty much, the story of Fred and his kids. In a nutshell, obviously how I did that we'll talk about a bit more. The author does spend a pretty decent amount of time kind of walking through Fred's, early life and his struggles, and how he built himself up, to become successful. And I think that's a very interesting story to tell. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs will have similar stories and similar experiences themselves. Fred goes through a lot of heartbreak, a lot of tragedy. His wife dies, his kids pass away. His first restaurant fails, the Merchant's Dining Saloon and Restaurant. I think the message there from the author is that nothing's easy, especially when you're trying to become a millionaire, become a successful entrepreneur. It's interesting. A quote from Jim Rohn: "Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune." I think that rings true. Obviously, I have a formal education. I do pretty well, but I think these guys that have sort of built up their empires from scratch and made it on their own, and are very successful. And you see a lot of them, and Jim Rohn was one of them himself. And that's kind of who Fred is, and the author does a good job of portraying that story, and giving us a glimpse into what made Fred tick, and um, how he dealt with a lot of the tragedy and heartbreak. Um, how did Fred become so successful? I think one of the things that I got from the book was that he had a clear vision. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew how he wanted to be successful. He had some inspirations from George Pullman, who was running the luxury train cars, or the hotel cars. They quote, and trying to improve the passenger service. And Fred took that idea and kind of turned the traveling train cars, and wanted to build a customer experience around the food in the hotels. I think they use the word that the train stops had grub, not food. The hotels were flea bags, which is kind of interesting. And that's what you would kind of expect from the West back then, I guess. Um, but what Fred wanted to do is, serve the finest cuisine imaginable along the train tracks in the middle of nowhere, and that was pretty much his vision. And how he wanted to get there was through quality and convenience, and pretty much building out, sort of what we consider, quality fast food as of today. He wanted to have that quality product, and I think that goes to back to Milton Hershey, obviously famous entrepreneur. Give them quality. That's the best kind of advertising, and I think that's exactly what Fred wanted to accomplish as well. He also built his empire through, having a specific image and a specific brand, and that was, the 10 fundamentals of the Harvey system. He created a brand for his employees, and he taught them, the different rules on how to act and how to provide customer service. He had these great ideas like the cup rule, where he could provide a unique service to the travelers. He basically created the Hooters of the Wild West, I guess you could say, with the Harvey Girls, and that sort of image, that he was well known for. Um, yeah, and I think we see from a lot of people nowadays, a lot of marketing managers and a lot of experts, you know, every one of your employees is a brand manager. They represent you, and I think that's exactly what Fred wanted. He wanted his employees to be his sort of brand and his image, and he gave them a lot of power in order to make decisions. Um, he was very much about personalizing the experience, and from the famous Dale Carnegie book, um, "Winning Friends Begins with Friendliness," which is something that you try to live by, and I think that's exactly what Fred would teach his employees to do. Um, you know, we kind of talked about it in a previous blog that we just wrote about technology in the industry in the fast food industry, and I think one of the restaurants that I mentioned was Heidi Lau, and I think Heidi Lau does a great job of kind of capturing the essence of what Fred wanted to do, and that was have this great, amazing customer experience, and have a very successful chain that he's able to basically create this whole supply management, reporting, food preparation, and get all of this standardized. And when I walk into Heidi Lau now, I see kind of the Harvey system, I guess you could say. It's they're very successful. Fred's was very successful, and it's really interesting. Just realized I'm going way over. It's kind of hard to do a quick book review in 5 minutes, so I'll finish up here and just say, I thought it was a pretty interesting book. I thought I might have liked it a bit more since I'm a history major, and you know some parts were a bit dull, but overall it's a really good book. I think Fred's interesting character, and so is his family members, his sons. Overall, pretty decent book. Thanks for making me read it, and thanks for reviewing my book review. Thanks. Bye.